I just thought that was my life. You know what? I'm going to feel like this forever. This sucks. I was having panic attacks every day. That bad. Like I was really, really bad. When I had anxiety, I didn't even know what it was for years. Like a lot of time I thought it was like having a heart attack or something. I was like, oh my God. Well, I mean, I was a nightmare at school. I was an absolute nightmare. I got kicked out of school at like 16. I could never concentrate. I could never work in class. And I didn't know why. I just couldn't. And I was like, I don't get how people can sit in these classes and just sit there for an hour. And so I didn't have a house to go to. I was living with a friend for like a year and it definitely got worse. I mean, I would drink like 5-6 days a week. I knew that alcohol made me feel better at the time, but I knew it would make me feel worse the next day. But a lot of it was just like, I want to feel better now. But my friend got me into exercise when I went in COVID, and so started running. And then I realized like it makes me feel so much better. I feel like I hadn't achieved anything for so long. I think you have to have these wins in your life to keep you motivated and like keep you like going. And so running to me was something where I could be like, I could push myself. This isn't working for me, so I want to find something else. I didn't really start out trying to start a business. I just started out trying to find something for me. There must be people like me out there.
Many men grow up believing that there's something wrong with them without ever fully understanding themselves. For this one, I'm joined by Harry Clough, founder of Harry Can't Sit Still, to break down ADHD, anxiety, and how he turned his own struggles into a business that actually supports how he operates. This is a conversation about what happens when you stop trying to fit the mold and start building your life around how you're wired. If you enjoy this one, support the mission, please kindly subscribe and leave a review. It helps the show grow, and that means that we can reach more men who are navigating that messy middle of growth and support them in becoming more self-led. Thank you so much. I'm Harrison, and this is the Growth Voyage Podcast. Enjoy.
Okay. The red light is on. Harry, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you on, man. And I was keen to touch upon what you're building with Harry Can't Sit Still.
Absolutely.
I really like the name. And I wonder, in your case, was there kind of a turning point for you to start thinking, okay, it's not about fixing me, but it's about actually the system in which I'm kind of operating in a way. Maybe there's something that can better support my way of being rather than I've got to try and fix myself.
Absolutely. No, I think, yeah. And obviously it's called Harry Can't Sit Still because that was kind of like the feedback that I used to get when I was younger at school, and like that was in my reports, but I thought the name matched the brand quite well. But I think ADHD is like, it's not a negative thing at all. It's different to being, non-neurodivergent or whatever. And it's very helpful in a lot of situations, but it also can hinder you. But if you use it in the right situations and you do the right things, then it can be great. And for me, I was actually just looking for products for myself because, I used to drink coffee and it used to make me super hyper for like an hour and then crash massively and then feel anxious and like awful. So I was like, this isn't working for me. So I want to find something else. I tried medication a bit, but it just, again, was like way too intense. Felt like I'd lost my character. And so I didn't really start out trying to start a business. I just started out trying to find something for me, something that helped me. And then eventually I was like, oh, these are the sort of perfect ingredients, but they're super expensive buying them separately. And also it was massive admin. I would never do. I'd always forget to take it because one was a pill, one was a gummy, one was a canned drink. Like it was crazy. I was taking like 5 different things and I just never did it. So that's why I started it. So I was like, you know what? There must be people like me out there. And I looked up and researched it and asked people, and there was. And I was like, that's sort of the main reason why I started it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just love that, it's right. You've encountered a bit of a pain point in your life, and yet you're using that to kind of turn it into something good and beneficial, not just for yourself, but then for other people. So I love that aspect of self-leadership. I want to kind of just come back to the beginning though, because you mentioned, right, you tried coffee, tried all this other stuff. was there kind of a frustration? It sounds like there was a frustration with the system, right? And you thinking, right, I need to find something to just, help me focus that doesn't cause all these negative side effects. But before you came to that point of wanting to change it, what was going on internally? Like, did you, at school perhaps, did you feel like you were a bit of a, not an outcast, but you couldn't quite get stuff done? Or maybe you were still getting stuff done, or things looked okay on the surface? Talk to me about
absolutely.
About that.
Well, I mean, I was a nightmare at school. I was an absolute nightmare. I got kicked out of school at like 16, went to another school, but I could never concentrate. I could never work in class, and I didn't know why. I just couldn't. And I was like, I don't get how people can sit in these classes and just sit there for an hour, not speak, not say anything, and just concentrate. And I never could. And it always would get me in trouble. And like, I had some teachers that just thought it was an absolute nightmare, but some teachers that loved me, but they were like, oh, for God's sake, that's kind of like that sort of cheeky, like, and kind of naughty kid, but like actually they like them, and they're not like being bad. They're just quite hectic. So it was a bit of a nightmare, but I didn't know what it was. So I was just kind of like, that's just me. And then sort of, I think university's harder because no one's telling you to go to do classes or whatever. No one's telling you off if you don't go. No one's telling you off if you don't do your essays or anything like that. So there's no one holding you accountable. So I mean, at uni, I literally went to nothing. Like, I did a lot of outside sort of extracurricular stuff. Like I worked a lot. I started businesses. I did all that, and I learned so much through that. But my degree was like completely pointless because I didn't actually go. Or like I would sit in the lecture, and I still do it now. Like, I have sometimes like these 2-hour Zoom calls, and like you're meant to sit there, and I can't. Like, it's not like I'm not like cured, and I'm not trying to solve that. But the product for me is something that helps me massively, and I think helps other people. And other people are saying that now, that it's a product that can really help them just throughout the day. And it's a I don't think, like, medication is great for some people, and it's just wasn't for me. But it's just an easy way to try and get back on track, basically.
Yeah, well, because there's so much going on there, right? So again, you kind of had these experiences at school. Do you think you kind of like internalized a belief about yourself then? You were like, oh, maybe I'm different from the other kids. I'm like, there's something not quite right with me? Or did you have the belief that, okay, it's just like school's just shit? Yeah, school's just not for me. Like, because I really want to understand this, because I can imagine if you're, again, kicked out of school, always being told off, like, you're going to form some type of perception, right? So which way did kind of you swing off that? And then off the back of that, like, how come it was like university was the path that you chose?
It went down. Yeah, so I mean, I think I definitely felt that as I got older and older throughout school. So like, it was kind of fine till like 12, 13, but then 13 to 18 was when it was really tough. And I was like, I loved school, by the way. I didn't hate it at all, but I didn't love lessons or whatever. I loved the other parts of school, the fun bits with your friends and all that sort of stuff. And I think, I just ended up just sort of accepting that I was the nightmare, that like I was, the kid that was always going to be in trouble. And that was kind of my personality, really. I mean, it wasn't like, I don't think people were shocked when like, they're like, oh, you've been kicked out or whatever. Like, it was kind of, that was always going to happen. Like, people, it's sad, but like, that's what it is. And I think you definitely do, because if you can't concentrate, then it sort of spins into a cycle, and then you start being naughty, and then teachers start getting angry at you, and then you feel like everyone's against you. So you just get worse and worse and worse. And then you sort of spin into a cycle where you kind of, at the end of then you're just like, you think that's your personality, as you were saying. So I definitely had that. And I think it was, I never really thought about it, but I was just like, I'm the useless guy in the class. I'm the useless guy in the year. And that's my personality going forward. And then why did I go to university? I didn't really know what else to do, to be honest. Like, I had no clue. I think the other thing, when I was at like 16 to 18, there was a lot going on at home in my family life. And a lot of it, I was like, reacting to that. But I also think it could have also been reacting to like having ADHD and just being, that's the general thing. But I was kind of in a bit of a like, screw the system. I'm like having a nightmare here. But uni probably wasn't the best shout, but I met like all my best friends there and like stuff like that. So I don't regret it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a similar stance I have to university in a way, because I enjoyed it. I had a great time, and it taught me, I got a lot of life lessons from
exactly.
university. Was it worth it in terms of my degree? Absolutely not. It was, did I learn anything new? Well, my degree was Spanish with business, right?
Yeah.
So
Great mix.
I mean, it was great, but when did I improve my Spanish the most? Was it in a classroom, or was it
In Spain.
spending time in Spain, South America? How did I learn or improve my business skills? Was it learning about business, or was it doing the stuff? So I think there is a lot of there is that kind of path that's kind of laid out to you, and it seems to me, from what you're telling me, it's kind of similar to school in the sense that, right, you're different than the other kids in the sense that the traditional system's not quite built for you, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like, right, we put kids into this system, try and make them fit, and then they're the bad kid for not fitting into it. And then what's the path after that? Well, it's always university, and I think that can be a wicked path for some people. But it seems like in your case, it was kind of, again, that kind of like, okay, let's fit in this box because this is what we're supposed to do. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think, like, to be honest, I had bad grades. Like, I didn't have good grades. I wasn't going to go to like an amazing, like, I wasn't going to go and get an amazing job or whatever out of uni. But I never really thought about uni not being an option. I think especially like where I was, like, it just, you either went to uni, or pretty much everyone went to uni basically, or you go into a job. But I didn't really know what to do. And I was just like, you know what, uni seems the only feasible option. I mean, to be honest, if I went into a job at that age, I would have been absolute carnage. I mean, it would not have probably been that helpful. And as you say, you learn so many life lessons at university. I am in like a crippling load of debt now, which is a bit depressing, but I was like, I don't regret it. And I think, like, it's nice because I'm going back to did a talk at uni a couple of weeks ago, like, and go back. And that was amazing for me because I went to loads of talks when I was at university from like founders that had been in the university, or someone who'd done a business or whatever. And that to me was like a great part of it. I like seeing all that extracurricular stuff was great.
Yeah, and I want to kind of piece together, right, your own kind of internal transformation as you're going through this stuff. So university, again, it's not quite sticking for you, and you're kind of interested, you said, like, perhaps business ventures and stuff like that. So what was your mindset like during this period? You said it was still fun. So was it similar to school? It was like, okay, I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to make the most of this, even though the main reason why I'm here isn't quite resonating with me. So were you always quite happy in a way, would you say?
I found uni quite tough. Like, I think it was, for me, it was just, I don't know, I felt very behind because I was never doing my uni work. I wasn't doing very well in that. And I think I just didn't really know, I wasn't interested in it. And I just wasn't interested in, like, I did business, so I technically should have been interested in it, but I was much more interested in going and doing a business than sitting and someone tell me about it or tell me like a theory or whatever. And obviously it's not knocking that at all, but that just wasn't how I operate and like how I sort of think. And I don't know, I think uni's a really tough time for everyone because you go from school where you're very structured, you know, you're looked after to a certain degree, and then you go into uni and you are really not, there's no structure. You have to make your own structure. You can choose whatever you want to do each day, which is amazing because you're like, oh my God, I'm free. But also you have to make yourself do things. And I was very good at, again, I was good at going and doing businesses. I was good at like learning from other people. I worked as like an events rep, which basically managing events and like nights out, all that sort of stuff, and got to like quite a senior level in that. And we were running 5-6 nights a week. I was going to different cities every week and it was cool. Like, that was amazing. And I learned so much from the founder of that. And, you know, he's always been a great like mentor to me, but from my going to the uni stuff, I never really learned anything. And partly because I didn't go, but I also thought like a business degree is great, but I do think that they're teaching you business to go and work in a company, not to have your own company, which, you know, obviously not everyone's going to have their own company, but that's kind of where I thought I was a bit disappointed by. But there was a module called the Entrepreneur module, which, so like for the record, I got a 2-2 from uni, so I was not excelling. But there was a module called the Entrepreneur module, which was like the biggest module in the year, and everyone in this business course did it. And I actually ended up getting the highest mark in the year in this module. Then everything else I just like tanked. But I loved it because I was so interested in it. And it was like, you have to start a bit like it's a fake business, but you start a business and then you get a team, you pitch it, all that sort of stuff. And that to me was epic. That was what I thought a uni degree would be, like all of that stuff. And it was it was great. And so I'm actually going back as one of the dragons in like 2 months to mark people's coursework. So I'm like quite excited about that because I was like, that's really cool. So yeah, uni for me was carnage. So I probably haven't even answered your question, but I think I was trying to find out who I was. I was trying to find my footing. I was trying to just understand life better. And like, it's so intense because you're like a lot of pressure to make friends at the beginning, which obviously happens naturally, but you're there like kind of like, oh my God, who are my friends? And where I was at university, you had to choose your house, like who you're living with, within 2 months of getting there. So you're literally like scrambling around like, oh my God, trying to find these things and trying to find people and whatever. So yeah, it was carnage. And I to be honest, it was I think it was quite a painful period of my life because just generally it was just quite chaotic. There was no structure and I didn't know what the hell was going on. But I'm so grateful for it as well because I needed those years and I needed to like work that out.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that kind of came to my mind was that even though on the surface we can look at university and these structures as not great or not the best route for us, I think it can actually teach us a lot about what we don't want and what we do want, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, I think we can definitely leverage these experiences to, forge our own path. And so it's, perhaps that's the answer to kind of young men who are kind of finding their way, just kind of do something, but then also having the awareness to go, actually, you know what, I've tried this, I've given it a go. It's not for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think being young is so difficult. Like, I think it's, that age as well, when you're like a teenager and you kind of have the world in front of you, but you also don't know what to do or anything. You don't really know anything about anything. You don't even know what you properly like and what you probably don't like and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's a really difficult time, but it's also obviously an exciting time. And yeah, I just think for people, they just, you try as much stuff as possible, really. See what you like.
During this period, as you suggested, it's pretty chaotic time. And you mentioned the friends there as well. You got to find people who you resonate with. Did you have much of a support system as this was going on? And I know you mentioned before, there was perhaps, chaos happening. I say chaos or challenges in the family, for example, or school. Like, in terms of a support system, have you always had like a network of people? It could just be like a friend. It could be a family member, a group of friends. Did you sort of have that? And what was that like?
Kind of. So I had really good friends from school. So I have, and they're still very good mates of mine. And I see them often and it's great. I think when I was like 16, 17, my parents got divorced. And they basically, my dad was quite successful in business, but then he basically lost all the money. So like literally basically went bankrupt. And so my mum had to completely start again. She had to move. She moved away, was living with a friend for like a year. And so I didn't have a house to go to. I didn't have, she was having a really difficult time. So, she couldn't be there for me in the way that she had previously been. And like, I was close to my dad, but he wasn't the sort of dad to like be very, like, how are you getting on? Like, or like very, not emotionally, we weren't emotionally connected in that way. And so I think that was one of the biggest struggles for me because I couldn't go home. I couldn't, like, uni was technically my home. And I suppose I didn't have a massive, I mean, I did, don't get me wrong, my mum's like loves me and she's one of the best people in the world. I did have her, but she was just very occupied with what was going on. And so I think that definitely made it harder. And then I was kind of just like, you have in that mindset, you're like, oh, I'm useless. Like, because I've been at school, I got kicked out of school and then I like, get to uni, you're struggling at uni, you're like, this sucks. And like, I be honest, I've never I didn't struggle to make friends at uni. And they're like literally my best mates and I love them. So that was great. But at the beginning, particularly, it was hard because you don't know who your friends are and you don't know where you stand with people. Yeah.
And it's interesting, kind of the kind of divorce you mentioned there. So my parents divorced when I was 6.
Yeah, that's
young. Super young. And it was tricky at that age, as you can imagine, a lot of confusion.
Yeah, what's going on?
And I always thought, actually, if I was older, I could better understand in my head what was going on and make sense of it. But then I can also imagine how actually the more you know, is that a better thing, and
I think either way it's just painful, isn't it? I think it's got its different reasons, and I suppose sometimes ignorance is bliss, but then obviously, a 6-year-old is a 6-year-old, they're still going to be like, why are they not living together? Why are we not like hanging out together? All that sort of stuff, which is very sad, but yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can certainly imagine in your case, when all this stuff is going on, it's like in terms of like your emotions and how you kind of deal with it. Did you have an outlet at the time when you were navigating this stuff? I know you had your friends. Did the conversations you had with them, did they have that like depth that may have been helpful to you, or what did you do with all this stuff?
No, and I think that's one of the biggest issues with that time in my life was I don't think I did. And like, we wouldn't have those sort of in-depth, I do now, and like, it's great, but wouldn't have those in-depth conversations with people really. And I think that's where you like bottle it up and then it gets worse and then gets worse. And you're like, oh my God. But I definitely didn't. And I think it was sort of, yeah, you kind of feel very isolated and alone in that situation because you don't feel like you have anyone to talk to about it. You don't know who to talk to about it. You don't really know if it, like, I didn't really know, like, I was like, it's fine, like, get on with it, but like, it's not. So I was just like, yeah, it's one of those things. And I think, yeah, it was, yeah, I suppose I didn't know.
Where did the kind of turning point come? Because it sounds like, yeah, again, not really having an outlet or a way of kind of handling this stuff. So what was going on in your head? Was it just, okay, let's like kind of just find, again, you mentioned like the events, organization and stuff. Yeah. Did you kind of just find projects and kind of latch onto those and kind of was it just, right, let's just keep busy, let's just get on with it? Was that like the mentality?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really have like I don't remember having like a clear mentality about it. I was just, I can't not do stuff because I get so bored. And like, if I don't do stuff, my mind just like goes in overdrive and I'm like whirring around, and it's like almost relaxing to me is unrelaxing. like lying on a sun lounger on holiday is like, I don't want to do it because it just that stresses me out for some reason. So I was always going to do stuff, and I always, was doing stuff. But I think I was drinking way too much, like it's as uni people do. But when you're like in quite like a vulnerable sort of state, and like actually I've had like horrendous anxiety in my life, and it definitely got worse. And I used to just drink. I mean, I would drink like 5-6 days a week, like, and you just go, and then you wonder why you feel rubbish. But like you're young and you don't know like why this is happening, why you're feeling that way, why, like, what's going on. And it's a very confusing time, I think.
Oh, dude, 100%. I was similar at university in the sense that, yeah, I was drinking so much. Yeah. And like, really, like,
it's mad. When you look back at it, you're like, oh, God, how did I do it?
Right. But then you don't really have the awareness to go, oh, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
And it's kind of wild to me to think that, yeah, there is a period where you're just so clueless as to mental health and all this stuff.
Absolutely no clue. And like, it's, I didn't even know, when I had anxiety, I didn't even know what it was for years. Like, I just thought like, well, a lot of time I thought it was like having a heart attack or something. I was like, oh my God. But like, I never knew it was anxiety because I was like, I don't know what that is. And so I suppose when you don't know what something is, then you don't know how to help yourself with it. And also, yeah, I suppose it's just everyone is drinking, everyone's going out, everyone's partying. So it's kind of like, well, everyone's doing it. They seem fine.
So you're dealing with all this stuff, anxiety, and yeah, you mentioned it kind of felt at times like, oh, am I having like a heart attack? Yeah, like, what's going on? When did this come to a whole? When did you start to draw the connections between perhaps your lifestyle and how it wasn't necessarily supporting your well-being? Talk to me about this kind of evolution there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it was COVID, it was lockdown, and it didn't stop. My anxiety didn't stop then, but sorry, it wasn't the end of anxiety. But I went to live with a friend for COVID in Scotland because I'm from Scotland, and I just lived in his house with his dad and his sister. Not knowing that it was going to be for so long. I thought I was going there for like a week and then ended up being there for like 3 months. But I realized then, because that was my last year of university, it was cut in half by COVID. I realized then that I was so much calmer. I was like, weirdly, like I was so sad because I wasn't seeing my family or my friends. But like mentally, I was so much happier. Just having that, like, just almost being like shut off from the world. And then when I went back into life, then I got anxious again, and it came back again. But my friend got me into exercise when I went in COVID, and so started running. and I'd never run before in my life. I played sports my whole life, but never run before, and like was very anti-running. I was kind of like, I would never go on a run. Like, that's lame. And started running with him. And then I realized like it makes me feel so much better. And so ever since I've probably taken it to the other extreme where I do it too much, but like I run loads, and I've always found it as a great way to deal with tough, stressful, anxious times, basically.
Yeah, well, it's certainly I can resonate with that in the sense that if I didn't have my gym routine, if I didn't have my jiu-jitsu, my sports, man, there'd all just be this pent up stuff. And it's interesting you talking about COVID, because it seems like for a lot of men that was a bit of a wake up period. They started to question their habits, their lifestyle. And I wonder, in your case, obviously you mentioned the calmness there that you hadn't had before. And yeah, I think of course a lot of that will be due to kind of the alcohol and the lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
And then there's also part of me that, because I was in a challenging period around that time, or just before it. And I remember what really helped me was that life was on pause. And I felt like I no longer had to be on that.
In that treadmill, the rat race.
Yeah. And there was no kind of external environment that wasn't conducive to who I wanted to be, where I was going. Whereas I was in that same toxic university environment. Yeah. Surrounded by, it wasn't great for me. And so that COVID, it gave me a break from alcohol, from drugs, from all of that stuff. Yeah. And it was like a reset button. So I imagine it was a similar for you. Yeah. And then you're saying after that, the anxiety kind of returned.
Yeah. And I think, like, obviously COVID was awful for so many people, and it's almost bad saying that it was good, but I think it was, for me, it made me realize, because I just thought that was my life. I was like, you know what, I'm going to feel like this forever. This sucks. Like, and when COVID happened and it stopped, I was like, oh, I actually can live a normal life. I can like not have this like looming over me and not be anxious the whole time. And like, but I was like proper, like I was having panic attacks like every day, like that bad. Like I was really, really bad. And it just suddenly stopped. And I was like, you know what, this is great. And then I went back, and it was really difficult because I think I'd finished uni, but I needed to have a job. I needed to get back, like get out there. But COVID obviously was just ending and everything was opening up. And it was a weird time, because when you leave uni again, it's a weird transition period, because you're like, your friends are then, you're now used to spending every day with them, and now going off and living in other places, and you're doing different jobs, and you won't see them as much and all that sort of stuff. So that was another transition where you have to kind of get used to it.
Well, it's just wild to me to think that you were having panic attacks and didn't know what they were.
No, I did by that point.
Okay.
But I used to have them where, because they used to come across all very differently. Like, and there was times where I used to go to the A&E and be like, I think I'm having a heart attack. And they'd be like, they wouldn't say it was anything. They'd be like, you're not. Because they put all these like monitors on you and be like, no, you're not. And then I go away on, and then I think my like throat is closing up. I can't breathe. And then they're like, you're not, it's fine.
So was there a point then, because obviously we've seen how kind of alcohol can kind of worsen symptoms of anxiety. Yeah. Did you ever start to think, like what is this? Like, is it trying to tell me something? Is it caused by something? Like, did these like thought patterns kind of enter your mind? Did you explore that?
I think so. And I think like, I knew that alcohol made me feel better at the time, but I knew it would make me feel worse the next day. But a lot of it was just like, I want to feel better now. And I think that's probably like the ADHD in me is like, I want it now. I don't want it tomorrow. I want it now. So I think it definitely, honestly, it's like getting more experience in a job. At the beginning, it's so difficult, and you don't understand what's going on, and you don't know anything, and you're trying to learn about stuff, but you have no idea. And that was what it was at the beginning. And then as it went on and on and on, I knew more what was triggering it, what was going to happen. I knew more like what made it worse, what made it better, all that sort of stuff. And then I sort of got to grips with it better, until that's when exercise really like pushed it away a lot more.
Interesting. And it's interesting because you said like pushing away, because I see what I kind of heard there was you're listening to the science. Okay, what makes anxiety worse or better, and starting to draw parallels between them. I almost see that as like forming a relationship with anxiety. I've always seen anxiety as like it's telling us something. Yeah. It's telling us something important. So I kind of saw that as, okay, it's like, because I think a lot of the time our mentality with anxiety is, oh, right, we need to get rid of it. We need to get rid of it. But then I think often when we kind of sit with it, like we understand quite often it's like kind of telling us about a situation. We can use it as kind of like a guideline.
Yeah.
And so I quite like this idea of like, okay, right, you're telling me this isn't for me. Like, thank you. Like, thanks, I appreciate that. And then, we kind of go off over here and, okay, you like this. All right, let's do that. So it's, it seems like subconsciously there might have been a bit of maybe an acceptance perhaps, although I can also see how like the running aspect as well, it was kind of like, okay, let's just appreciate you, Mr. Anxiety, but hey, let's this can like lighten the load a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I also, running gave to me a feeling of achievement of like, if I ran a marathon, I'd be like, oh, I've run a marathon, that's great. If I'd done whatever. So I feel like I hadn't achieved anything for so long while I was at school, while I was at university. I was like, I haven't done anything good. I just feel like a waste of space. Like I've literally like, I've not done well in my exams. I've not done well in my, anything really. I stopped really doing sport. And I was like, it's none of that was there. And I think you have to have these wins in your life to keep you motivated and like keep you like going. And I had none. I was like, I'm not winning anything. And so running to me was something where I could be like, I can push myself, I can feel like, I might have a rubbish day, but I've run a half marathon. Fine. I feel good about it. And so that was, I think, a big thing for me, is that sort of trying to achieve something.
Oh, dude, massive. I mean, yeah, you mentioned something there, because I can only imagine, right? Again, you've gone to school, they've given you this identity. Right, you're the annoying kid, whatever. Then you go to university, and then all these beliefs about yourself, they're reaffirmed because you're not getting the exams.
Yeah.
So at that point, you kind of need an identity reset in a way. Right, let's create this new Harry who's a fucking winner. And then you just go on. And like you were saying, the running, no one can take that away from you, that feeling of like I smashed this 5K, 10K, whatever. And I think that's where, again, we start to build confidence. And I think it's through these, like you were saying, these wins. Now you've got evidence. So it's no longer someone telling you, oh, it's okay. Like you're a superstar. You're great. People can tell you that all you want, but there's still going to be this internal belief of, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So if you've gone out there and pushed yourself and started running, then and the milestones are going to keep on getting bigger and bigger.
Exactly. And that's what I think it is. I think it's something where it's like you build upon everything. So you just go, it sort of builds up, as you say. And I think if you start out like, you start out when you first start running, for instance, not just talking about running, but you can't run a 5K. You can only run a kilometer and you're absolutely knackered. And you're like, how are people doing this? But then you get better and better gradually, and you realize, okay, I can run a 5K now. I remember when I couldn't. And I think that goes on with everything. It's like the same with like starting a business. When you're at work trying to get your dream job, you have to start with the smallest steps and then don't worry about the end goal. Not like, I don't think you should be like, oh, right. I mean, obviously people do this because they run marathon stuff, but I didn't start running being like, I'm running because I need to run a marathon, but that seems so far away. I'm just like, I'm going to run because I want to run and feel better and do something. And we'll just see where it goes. And it hopefully will get more and more and more. And then it's got to a ridiculous level now.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly move on to that. But it definitely seems like it kind of gave you a purpose in a way. And I think men, they need purpose. They need something to aim for. They need something to look forward to. And so running, it kind of gives you that thing to go, okay, cool, let's see if I can do 1K, 2K, 5K. And I think you've done some serious endurance stuff, haven't you?
Yeah. So I started, I do things to excess, which has been evident throughout my whole life, where I will, whether it's good or bad, if I like it or I'm interested in it, I'll do it to excess, or I won't do it at all. So like, for instance, like running is a great example of that, where I started running and I was like, you know what, I could get better at this. And I end up doing it. So I've done a lot of like running for charity, because I think like it's the perfect thing for me, because running helped me so much mentally, and I like helping mental health charities because obviously I would want that help as well. And I think, it's such a sad thing, bad mental health, because it's everywhere. And so I ran the tube lines last year. So I ran like all the London Underground lines, which was pretty fun.
Ran the lines.
So I ran from every stop to every stop. So I ran, there's 12 tube lines, I think there was. And I ran from every stop. So one day I ran the Piccadilly line. One day I ran the Metropolitan line. One day I did the Waterloo and City, which is the smallest one. But that was epic. And I raised like close to 10k for charity. It was amazing. And like got like press coverage. It was really cool. And so that was great. And then this year I ran from Edinburgh to London. So that was also for charity. Just straight down the country. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So Edinburgh to London, how long is that?
It was 650 kilometers or something. 650. I did it in 12 days. 11 days. 650 kilometers. It was carnage. I was running like along motorways and stuff. It was absolutely just mental. So
what stop off at like hotels on the way?
Yeah. So a couple of friends' houses. It was a mixture of friends' houses and hotels. Yeah. Like small pubs and so.
That's incredible.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, what was your mindset during this? Is there an element of like an internal battle perhaps where you're thinking, or should I stop, or are you in?
It is. I mean, I think for me, I have to have something that I'm building towards. And so it just gets me like, because I stop, I don't drink at all. Like I do drink occasionally now, but like I stopped drinking completely before doing these challenges for like 2 months or whatever, which is great for me. Also saves money. And then that gets me in a good headspace. And then when I'm on it, I mean, I woke up, I was getting up at like 3 a.m. to run. And every morning I'd wake up like, such an idiot. Why have I said I would do this? Like, this sucks. But then like I get into it and just, it was great. I mean, obviously there's like a peak in running, like, I was running, some days we're running like 70k. And so when you get to like 50, you're like, oh God, please just get me to the next place.
Wow. I mean, because that shouldn't go unnoticed. I mean, that feeling, because 12 days was it?
Yeah.
I mean, every single morning, bearing in mind, you've just done a huge amount of running the day before.
Yeah, and you've got to go again.
I mean, that's a serious amount of resilience that you've built up in yourself.
Yeah. I think I've always struggled. I don't know if this is an ADHD thing. I was looking up the other day. I remember the last time I felt like proud of myself. And it was when I was 12 years old and I was made head boy of my school. And I was like, I remember being so proud of it because basically I was a bit of a nightmare in this school that I was at, this junior school. But then in the second last year, one of my teachers who was like, I loved him. He was like, if you don't buck up your ideas, you're going to be a complete like joke, basically. Like you need to, not in those rude words, but he was just like, you're a great guy, but you're just wasting your potential. Do something about it. And I remember that whole year I worked super hard, like the hardest I've worked in my life. And I was like, I want to become head boy. And I just put my head to it. I was like, I need to be head boy. And this was going from like the naughtiest kid in the school to a year later being head boy, which was pretty wild. And I was so proud of myself. And then that was the last time I was proud. Anyway, so now I'm like, when I do these things, I'm like, oh, I'm going to feel so proud when I finish. Like I'm going to find it's going to be, I feel great. When I just finish, I'm like, oh God, what's next? I literally just have that. I don't know. It doesn't give it to me. And the doing it is so much more satisfying than actually finishing it because it's the end of a cycle. It's the end of talking about it, end of whatever. And I find that with a lot of things where I'm just like, I don't feel that amazed by it.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, what you've highlighted there seems to be a common thread amongst high performers.
Yeah.
And I think the head boy story is really awesome. I really like that. It's, that you kind of put your mind to it and you did that. And that's like a transformation in and of itself, really.
Yeah. Haven't put my mind to something like that since. It was probably exhausted me. I used up all my energy.
So you've done these very intense challenges, right? And you've experienced them and you're waiting for that feeling of pride at the end and this feeling that you expect to come, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So what is that feeling that you're looking for? Is it pride? Is it fulfillment? Is it what is it that you're looking for? And if is that your driver? Is that what's driving you to do all these great challenges, do you think?
No, not at all. I think it would be nice to feel it. I think I do it because I want to help people who I think were in a similar situation that I've been in, because I know it sucks and like it's scary and it's lonely, and so I think it's super important, that sort of stuff. I like doing things that like I wouldn't normally do. I like the idea, and I find this so exciting in life that I could be like tomorrow, but you know what? I want to make a TV show and I'm going to make it. And like, you can do that. It's just, there's obviously things stopping you, like you're saying you can't, or, you know, how am I going to do it? Why would I do it? But to me, I probably have the opposite issue where I try and do too many things, but I don't focus on one thing. And so that's probably an issue for me. But I find life exciting in that way, that I could be like, you know what? I'm going to go learn the drums and I'm going to start a band. I could do that if I wanted to. I'm not interested in that, but I could. And so I think with these challenges, like when I do them, I picture, it's not me being proud, but I want to make my like friends and family proud. That's one thing that I like love and want so much, because I just think for me, it's an amazing feeling. And like, I love my friends and my family, obviously, like so much. And I want to make them proud. I would love them to be proud of me. That's what if they ever say they're proud of me, that makes me feel the best out of anything in the world. And so I think that's definitely, it's not the main reason why I do it, but it's something that I would love from these things. But yeah, I think, you know, I just get bored. I get really bored. Like if I was like, right, I'm just going to go work a job 9 to 5 and I'm not going to do anything to me that's going to be hard or interesting or whatever, that scares me. Like I can't do that.
Yeah, well, you definitely touched upon something there in terms of the whole journey and how, it's about those, you know, those getting up, those, you know, 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 30. It's like, that's really because that's all there is. All we have is the journey. So it's,
I think also like, it's weird because I think you look forward to things so much more if you're not doing them the whole time. Like I wouldn't want to be in the house having a night in every night. But when there's like, you have one once a week, it's so nice because you're like, oh, this is such a nice thing. Like, I'm just going to relax and have a bath, whatever. If I was doing that every night, I wouldn't find it that amazing. And I think it's the same with just everything in life. You kind of need to do shit things to really enjoy the good things. It's like, I don't know, you go on a diet or something, but you allow yourself a pizza once a week or something. That pizza is going to be amazing compared to having pizza every day. Bad analogy, but
well, yeah. I mean, I've always likened it to like doing the things that, you know, will kind of make you feel good in a way, and you've kind of drawn your own conclusions with that over your journey with the alcohol, and that all makes sense to me. So, and it was really interesting because you spoke about like friends and the family and making them proud, and I think that's awesome to be so connected to that. Yeah, considering that was the kind of thing which actually, it's really interesting because that's probably one of your biggest values now, the friends and family, whereas kind of 10 years back, that was actually the thing that you're kind of craving the most because there was so much going on at that time. So it's I can see why that's kind of the main driver for you. It's super interesting.
Yeah, and like, because when I finished, so I ran into London and finished in a pub in London, and I had all my like best friends there, and that is literally all I pictured every day when I was running. I was like, I can't wait to like hug them. I got this like really sweet video of like when I run in and like hugging my friends, and like it's just like, that to me is like the pinnacle of life. I love it.
Well, I think we're designed for human connection. Yeah, right? We were kind of evolved in tribes, and we kind of need them.
Absolutely,
it's such an important part. So I love that you're so connected to that. I think it's awesome. I hope you're proud of yourself, though.
I'm honestly not, and I'm now used to it. I just don't feel pride. I feel like, oh, lucky, or I feel grateful about things. And like, I don't know what, it's just not an emotion I feel. Which is really annoying, but like, I just don't. I don't know what it is.
Well, so perhaps it keeps that hunger for you to keep on doing things for others, which is interesting. Like, how do you see yourself then? Like, if you were to describe yourself in like a couple of words, for example. I appreciate it's not always the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think quite chaotic. I think I like to think I'm nice. I think I do really care about people, and I think like I would like to think that that's an element of me that comes across, at least with my friends and whatever. But Yeah, I think like I always found that every time I've done something, I've not really done it in a way that most people do it, or I've not gone about something in a way. That's why I love business so much, like having your own business, is because I find it so hard. If someone's like, this is how you do this, I don't know, my brain just doesn't work it out. I can't do it. But if I work out how to do it, then it makes so much more sense to me. So I think, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. Like I have it in my head. I'm like, I will do something successful one day. But I don't know when it's going to be, and I don't know how it's going to come. And that's what I want to make something of myself, not to show off, but I think more to feel better about myself and feel like, oh, I've smashed that. And that's great. And like being head boy at prep school, like that to me I was like, you know what? I worked so hard for that and I got it. And like that was amazing. So I think, there's obviously, I think it's such a bad like mental space to be in, that like not feeling pride, but I do think it is the reason why I do a lot of things, because if I was just really happy with what I'd done, I'd just be content and I'd be like, you know what, fine. I'm like, I'm chuffed. I don't need to do anything now.
Well, it's a very interesting talking point, because if you look at a lot of successful entrepreneurs, a lot of their success was driven by some form of it was driven by something earlier on, and that's why when people look at successful entrepreneurs, they might say, "Oh, I want their lifestyle."
Well,
I want they have. Man, if you were inside their head, you'd see what's driving them, man.
I know what. I mean, not that he's a good lad at all, but Elon Musk said something like that, where it was, he said that, people want to be me, you don't want to be me, because you don't want to be hearing what's in my head and stuff like that. And I think that's it. People they want to be everyone else, or not all the time, but you aspire to be someone else. Most of the time it's just not, it's like show business. It's not, you don't see the gritty behind the scenes, which you think everything's all sunshine and rainbows, but it's really not. Yeah.
Do you think people would want to be inside your head?
No, but I also don't think I'm successful enough to be talking like that. But I think like, you know what? I think sometimes it's great because like there's things that I have, like I can get energy very easily, and I find like that's not a tough thing for me. But I do think like it's chaos. Like I saw this thing the other day where it was like apparently like 50% of people or something don't have an internal voice, or they don't like speak to themselves. It's just like silence or something. Maybe it wasn't that the right percentage, but I was like, that's mad. Like you must have such a nice time just like chilling there. But yeah, I think it's stressful. I'm happy and all that good stuff, so it's fine. But I think if people did come into my life and into my brain, they would be like, whoa, let's get out of it. So
yeah, a lot going on. It'd be really interesting to kind of follow your journey over the next kind of couple decades, man, and just see like your perspective on life and how you view everything that you've gone through. Because I think what kind of gives me peace in that regard, because not always being like satisfied with what we've achieved. I think it's just knowing that we've always evolved that way. If you were I don't know, a hunter-gatherer, and you were kind of, I don't know, building a family and hunting for stuff, you're never going to be satisfied. You're always going to be thinking about the next hunt and how to look after your family. Yeah. And I think that
it's a natural like human instinct.
Yeah. I think so. And I think that kind of takes the pressure off of thinking like, oh, okay, I just want to be satisfied how I am now, because you hear it often. And I think there are elements of that I've resonated with, like feeling a sense of peace now and not having to prove. But then I think then in that space, it's okay, how can I still maintain that drive and that determination? And I think that's what I'm kind of aiming towards now, is right, can I create a state of peace, right? But still maintain the motivation, still maintain that drive that I've got. And I think that's where you can create something really, really powerful.
Absolutely. And I think like ultimately, if you're like happy and at peace, then you're going to do everything else better as well, because you don't have all the stuff on your mind. You don't have all that sort of external baggage. You can just go and smash whatever you want to smash, and then whenever you feel like you just want to chill, you're like, I'm very content with what's going on right now. So yeah, I think if everyone, I think everyone has sort of an element of they need to keep doing more and doing more. I mean, I think if people didn't have that, nothing would exist. Like no one would have invented like the light bulb or like, you know, that sort of thing. So it's definitely a natural human instinct.
Yeah, certainly. And it's certainly going to be interesting to see kind of what you come up with. And you were recently on The Apprentice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just been on. Got fired last week, and that was another example of something that I really wanted. And like, because I'd applied 2 years in a row, the two years previously. I got to the last stage. Like I think 80,000 people applied this year, and I can't remember what it was the last 2 years, but I got to the last stage for 2 years in a row, and every time it was like at the last minute, you're not on it, and I was like gutted. But I was like, you know what, I'm getting on the show. I'm getting on the show. And so last year when I applied, I was like, this is probably the last time I apply, because it does take a long time, the application process. It's 3 months long. There's so many interviews. It's super intense, actually. It's like it's an amazing experience. But I was just like, I don't know, I just really want to be on it. And so it was amazing. And it fitted me to a T, because I get bored really easily, as I said, and you are never bored on that show. I mean, I was there filming for a month and a half, living in this insane house in Hampstead, and you don't have your phone. You can't speak to your friends or family. You live in this house. You can't leave. You can't do anything without them telling you what you're doing. You have no idea what the time is. They take all time things off you. You're going to these high pressure situations, and then, you know, back in the house with strangers you don't even know, and now obviously good mates. So it was amazing. It was such a cool experience. And that for me was another experience where when I got kicked out, so I got to the 8th week of it, and I just felt so disappointed. I was like, I wasn't like great, because before I got on it, I was like, I'd just be happy to get to week 1. I'm just happy to be on the show. And you get on the show, and it's like anything in life. It's like, oh, I just want to get to week 2. Like, I'll be so happy just to get week 2. I don't care if I get fired after that. And then it goes. And then week 8, I got fired, and I was just like, I honestly, for like 2 months, I was so gutted. I was like, so disappointed. I was like, God, that's annoying. And then it gets filmed a year before, so it's airing now. And so you watch it back, and that's fun. And you sort of, so much has changed since that happened. But it was amazing. It was a cool experience.
Yeah, I'm keen to touch upon that element to it, right? Like this, obviously, feeling of like being gutted, and because I imagine that takes its toll on you, because as you were saying, right, just happy to be there first of all.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, right, cool, let's do it. And then you get into it, and then I think the mind can create this kind of vision in your head as like the closer you get to
the closer you get to it. I think also like it reminded me so much of getting kicked out of school, because when I got kicked out of school again, I was so gutted, because like things at home were carnage, as I said, and that was my happy place in the fact that I was with all my friends and like I would see them all the time. And when I got kicked out of there, I was like, I'm not going to see these guys every day. And like, this is it. I'm not going to see them. I only get to see them on holidays, whatever. So I was kicked out of that. And then when I got kicked out of the show, I was like, you know, obviously everyone does, and that's what happens. But you build such a tight bond with these people. Like, you live with them and you work with them. People argue, but then you like all this sort of stuff. And then when you leave, you can't speak to them because you're not allowed to speak to them. And they're also still in there, the people that are still in the process. But you don't have any of their numbers. You literally just know, because you've not had your phone or anything. And so it's kind of like the same thing. You're off back on your own. And also, I mean, it was literally like being a kid again, because you don't know what the time is. You get told where to go, get driven everywhere. Like even crossing the road, when I left, I generally almost got hit by about 5 cars, because I didn't have to cross the road of looking, because people would block the traffic and you just cross. So I was like, not even used to that. Like, you know, people would go buy your food for you. People would bring you drinks. People would bring you food, like all this sort of stuff. And so, and I quit my job to go on the show. So I was like going back into life. I was like, I don't even know how to operate as a human being. Like even having my phone in my hand, I was like, what does this do? Mad.
Yeah. Well, I can really feel that, how you were kind of brought back to that kid-like scenario.
Yeah.
And how the emotions that would have brought up for you, certainly.
I tell you what, having no phone for a month and a half was insane. Loved it. Like absolutely loved it. And like, we weren't allowed to drink. We weren't allowed to, you know, have our phones. You weren't on social media, no internet, no TV, no radio. You literally were not allowed any of that. And so you just have to talk to people. And like, I think in modern society, like now, or not modern society, but my life, like I've only normally met people at the pub or on a night out or whatever. And then obviously you see them more and more. But when you meet someone, I was normally drunk or whatever. But this, you are completely sober and it's no phones, your concentration on you guys, and you're trauma bonding as well because it's chaos. But it's honestly extraordinary, like the whole thing.
Well, because you touched upon that idea of phones as well. And I do think that's contributed massively to kind of the
mental health and things. Yeah, 100%.
100%, brother. And I always say to people, if you're going through a tricky time, just have a digital detox.
Absolutely.
Just get away from it, go outside, smell the grass, get access to the sun.
It's mad. I feel like I'm addicted to it, to be honest. I probably don't do it as much as some people, but I sometimes feel my phone vibrate in my pocket. I'm like, oh wait, but my phone's on the table. And I don't know if you ever get that. It's so weird. And I think I've read before that that's like an addiction to like a notification, which is just crazy.
Yeah. So I'm very aware of all this stuff, and even like just the way it impacts our subconscious minds, man. So I don't think it's necessarily the human's fault. Yes, we can have precautions and stuff, but man, they're working tirelessly to make these apps as addictive as possible.
Yeah.
And so I just delete them off my phone. And then when I need to advertise my business, the podcast, then I'll re-download it, upload something, and delete it again. For me, that's just worked because some of the stuff you see on the algorithms, it's
crazy, mate. I also think like it's also, I mean, I really don't like social media, but for business, as you know, and like for podcasts and everything, you have to have it because that at the moment, that is literally how I get my sales in my business is social media. So without it, I wouldn't be able to do it. So it's such a double-edged sword, but I hate it because it means I have to be on it. I have to be making content on it, which I enjoy making the content, but it's the likes element and the views. And you're like, oh, that video did really well, or that video didn't do well. And you can't really escape it. And when it's going good, it's great. When it's not going well, it sucks. So it's one of those things. I also think people are way too, like, a lot of people comment on, like, I got quite a lot of hate a couple of weeks ago from the Apprentice. I didn't really know what I did. It was just 1 week and I was just getting so much hate online. And I was like, this actually does suck. Like, this really sucks. But like, people are going out their way to just throw hate at you. It's like, it baffles me. Like, I would never, ever think about doing that. And like, that people do that blows my mind.
Yeah. Well, it's, again, you can only kind of have sympathy with them or just, it's like, man, you've got to be in a dark place to comment hate on someone else's stuff, you know?
And that's one thing that I think I've learned growing up is that anyone who's angry, anyone who's sad, or anyone who's grumpy or whatever, it's always for a reason. And like, my dad used to get quite angry and like he'd be quite agitated a lot of the time. And I was then realised it's because he's got anxiety. Well, so he's not alive anymore, but it was because he was so anxious that he was always at this like pinnacle on the edge. And then that's when you can feel compassion to people. You're like, oh my God, like I feel really bad for you because you've lived your whole life and no one's helped you. You've literally just had that struggle.
Well, yeah, no, I can imagine how as a kid you might have internalized whatever he was feeling and made your own kind of objective meanings onto, so, you know, he might have been having a bad day or feeling stuff. But as a kid, you can't even comprehend that he's dealing with his own shit. So if you felt that something's off, then again, I could see how that would contribute to kind of your way of looking at yourself and the world. And
I saw this really interesting thing as well, where it's apparently, again, this is just a theory, it's not true, but not necessarily true. They, like when you have a kid who, so I joke quite a lot and I like laughing. And basically the theory is that if you're sort of have a relatively unhappy childhood, well not unhappy, but difficult childhood, kids will try and make their parents laugh to cheer them up. And that's why some people develop like trying to be funny, trying to be like the class clown, because they are trying to just like bring the spirits up in the room. And I did not have an unhappy childhood at all. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think there's an element of like just wanting to, you know, cheer the room up.
For sure. Yeah. Well, even just you laughing then, you know, it's, I imagine it's quite ingrained. So before we kind of dive into the close, you mentioned something there, your father passed, right?
He did, yeah. So he yeah, it's a pretty mental story. He passed away like 2.5 years ago. And he lived in Belgium. And so he was going in for just a routine heart operation. And it just went wrong. And basically they put him in a coma, like a medically induced coma. And then he was in it for like 6 months, in and out of coma. And then he died in hospital. But it was a really difficult time for me and my brother, because we basically had to go and take it in turns to go live in his flat in Brussels. So we did 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So I would go for 2 weeks. And I'd saved up loads of money to start a business. I'd saved up like, not loads of money, but I saved up like $5,000 to start my business. And I had to spend it all on going there and back on tickets for the Eurostar and the plane and stuff like that, which was annoying. But obviously I was going to go see my dad. So that's what happened. Then, yeah, it was sad. It was very sad. And I think that was something that really hit home to me. It was like, life is real and like things happen. And you're I felt like an adult then, because I was like, you have to deal with this stuff. And it was by far the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. But yeah, I think these stuff, it makes you stronger. And like for me, it's sort of now when sadly, my friends go through similar situations and I'm like, I know exactly how to help them, because I know how I wanted people to help me at that time. And I think especially with grief and like with death of loved ones, people don't know how to react. They don't know if they should leave you alone, if they should message you or whatever. And I think that's one thing that I found really difficult, is a lot of people did leave me alone because I think they were trying to give me space. But I was dying for people to reach out to me. I was like, please, just like, so I want to talk about it. I don't want to ignore the fact that, he was my dad and he's not alive anymore. Can't like ignore that. And so, yeah, it was a really, really difficult time. And I think it was a sad way for it to all end. But, I learned so much, and it definitely has made me stronger in a way.
Yeah, well, it sounds like an immensely challenging time, and I can only imagine at that time just trying to make sense of it all, and again all the emotions that brought up for you. Did you? And by the way, I loved that. Again, your first point of calls, just as you did with your ADHD, it's like, okay, how can I use this pain and use it to help other people?
Yeah,
it seems like that's always on your mind, which I think is such a wonderful and important quality to have. At the time, how did you deal with it? Actually, there was that conflict with the support system, and what did you kind of seek professional support? Did you kind of just crack on with stuff again? Yeah.
It's a good question. I mean, I had amazing friends. I have amazing friends, and they were so supportive. So that was absolutely incredible. And like the issue I had was I was in Belgium, and that's what made it 10 times harder, because I was in a country that I didn't speak the language of. I didn't know I didn't know where to go. I didn't even know where to like go shopping. And I also didn't have my friends there or any of my other family. So it was really, that sucked. But and that's, again, I drank a lot during that period, because that was the only way where I was like, this is good. This is all I can do. Like, this is the only thing that will make me feel better. And I was just so bored of, being in a cycle. But at the same time, I was starting my business. I literally started, like, this is actually, so I had the company I went on to apprentice with, which actually isn't my company anymore, but I was starting that business, and I took a week off work at the job I was at to start this business. The first day I was on a run. I was like, this is epic. I'm going to start this business. This is the first week. And my mum called me. It was like, your dad's in a coma. And I was like, oh my God. I hadn't even sat down on my laptop at this stage. And I was like, right. So then I had to fly straight out then. And then that's when I started the business. I literally started it all alongside this all happening, because it was the only thing that would distract me. And I enjoyed it. It was something that I could do. And my job that I was working at was super kind to me, and they gave me so much time off. So it meant that I could focus on, because I would go see my dad for like 3 hours a day, and then I would also go and work and do that stuff. So that was keeping me busy. I've had therapy a lot throughout my life, and I think the saddest thing for me about therapy is it's just expensive, but it is so worth it. It's so worth it. And I think, a lot of my friends have it. It's not something to be ashamed of at all. Like, it's just a very normal thing. I think everyone should have it if they can. And again, the job I was at, I used to get free therapy with the job. It was amazing. So that really helped. And I would just speak to a therapist once a week, and it was really great. And it's something that I'm trying to do again, because I'm just so bored at the moment. Just like, and I know that I should prioritize it, because I think it's such priority. But yeah, I need to get back into it.
Yeah, and I think I love that you've mentioned that as well, because I completely agree. I think, hey, we all need, this is just my view, I think we all need a degree of therapy, and the more self-aware people we have, the better the world will be. And again, it allows men such as yourself to overcome their pain, use that pain, learn from it, and then go on to help other people. And that's exactly what you're doing, man, which is very, 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 very inspiring.
Thank you.
Really, really cool, man. I love listening to your story. Super awesome. What we'll do, we'll jump into the closing traditions of the podcast. So we usually have 3 questions. The first 2 are routine. They're asked every week. And then the final question is asked by a member of the Growth Voyage community.
Nice.
First song, we're a bit more light-hearted. First question is a song recommendation.
Oh, so that's a very good question. All my friends have got awful music taste, and I probably do. I am going to say... there's a song, and I can't remember what the artist is called. I'm going to tell you this afterwards. Called "Fine," which I know this sounds really deep, but it basically he's like talking. He just sings about how like he says he's fine to everyone, but he's not. But I actually just really like the song. It's actually a really good song. Can't remember what the artist is called. Other than that, I just love like UK top 40 basically. I love like a bit of Adele, whatever. Yeah, so Fine.
I'm glad I met. I think you're the first person I've met who likes the UK top 40, so it's good, man. But that's awesome. And the song as well. I like the idea of that as well. Do you think that kind of resonates with your story a bit?
Definitely. I think music has always been something that like I can listen to songs that, because I'm also one of those people that will listen to a song and I'll listen to it 400 times then hate it and not listen to it again. But I can listen to songs and I remember when I was listening, like what was happening in my life in that situation. And I think a lot of it is like just trying to get like emotion out. And I think music does do that. So definitely, I think that was 100%. But I think it's a good song as well.
Wicked. Well, we'll find out the artist and put it in the description. Second one, it's a book recommendation.
Oh, that's a good question. So I don't read fiction, but I love business books. And I find this is something that I find if I'm feeling uninspired or I can't get in whatever headspace, reading a business, not like a sort of theoretical business book, a book written by like a founder or something. There's one, I mean, Shoe Dog is a classic, like everyone knows about Shoe Dog, but not everyone, but it's about the founder of Nike. He wrote it and about starting Nike. And I think that to me is an incredible book because all these books, you see how hard it was at the beginning and you see them almost going bankrupt. You see the struggles and then you see all the difficult aspects of starting the business. Because when you look at a business like Nike, you're like, that must have never been hard. They must have just been instantly selling off the rails. You can't imagine it being a small startup in someone's garage. But this book, talks you through the whole build up of it. But there's a lot of good books like that. And I think they're so motivating. They're epic. And people need to write more of them.
Yeah, wicked suggestion. Yeah, that's how you kind of cultivate a growth mindset in a way, kind of looking for evidence that what you're trying to do can be achieved. And if you can't look back through your own life, then looking back through other people's, I think it's a wicked thing to do. Yeah. Awesome. Well, the final question, this one comes in from David Chernick, and his question was, what's your most underappreciated characteristic?
Very good question. I think I'm quite creative, which obviously I wouldn't say it's unappreciated, but I don't know how anyone would really work it out. But especially on The Apprentice, I felt that's where I thrived with the creativity, which sadly didn't really get shown. But it's like kind of the ideas, and I think that is something that I come up with a lot of ideas in my head, and I write a lot down. And I'll generally tomorrow I'll be like, oh my God, I'm going to do this and I can't wait to do it. And then I'll lose interest in it and I'm not going to do it. But like right now I'm actually obsessed with being a TV presenter. Obviously I'm my business as well. But trying to find creative ways of getting into something like that, which is super difficult, almost close to impossible, is sort of how I think I operate best. So yeah, creativity, hopefully.
Yeah, wicked. And I really like that because it's so true, isn't it? It's in that school system. It wasn't really celebrated.
Well, you can't be creative really at school because you just, I mean, unless you're doing art, obviously, or design and technology or something like that. But I did like English and history and things. There's nothing really creative about it for me, anyway. Sorry, it's probably a complete lie because there's creative writing, but
yeah. Oh, dude, yeah, I love the answer, and yeah, again, loved hearing your story. I think you're an inspiration, man.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
I can't wait to see where it takes you. Whether we'll see Harry Can't Sit Still on the shelves everywhere, whether it will be as a TV presenter. Who knows? But
let's wait and see.
Yeah. Where can people connect with you? But then also, how can they try out some of your stuff as well?
Absolutely. So through Instagram, TikTok, anything. Well, my name's Harry Clough, so that's the thing. But business called Harry Can't Sit Still. Just send a DM as well. But you can get it online, harrycan'tsitstill.com. And yeah, I'm doing like, if you're in London or anything, I do go around sometimes and do it more often, trialing, giving out sachets and interviewing people. So maybe see there.
Brilliant. Look forward to it, brother. Thanks,
mate. Thank you for having me.